Hmm. Okay. I think, yeah, it's only one participant, which is me. Okay. Um, we do want everyone, because I love, first of all, I'm so happy you're here. It's in a few moments, in about 5 minutes, the nightfall actually begins. So we're still on the 8th of the month of Av, but in a few moments it becomes the 9th. So I'm really glad that we started this a little bit early in order to be social, because when I was speaking with some people today, I was talking about how it's awkward. Today's tonight and tomorrow is a day of mourning, truly mourning, and it's very a lot of our morning customs that we do. Why we're sitting on the floor. I'm not wearing shoes, but why I'm wearing sneakers and not leather shoes. Why I didn't put on makeup today. Why I'm fit. I'm also fasting now until tomorrow night. Our customs, our morning customs that we adapt from personal mourning, but unlike personal mourning, when someone loses a loved one, your loved one dies and you're mourning. It's just a normal, natural thing to do. Here, we have to jump in and become mourning, begin mourning for something that happened 1956 years ago. But we're going to talk about the other things and why. And that's not an easy thing. So when we jump in, part of the mourning is not giving hugs and kisses and saying, "Hey, it's nice to see you," and it's not that it's not nice to see you. It is, but we really try to bring it all into. And I didn't make any notes today, and there's no structure except we're going to take turns reading the Book of Lamentations, and I want to try as the best as we can as a community here to make Lamentations come alive, make it meaningful. This week I've been talking a lot about being here with you tonight. I did that on Daystar today. I told the pastor at Eagle Mountain Church today, who I was with, that I was coming to do this. And they were really excited and kind of envious that they weren't going to be sitting on the floor with us. And I was explaining that we just have to kind of jump in and do things, but I'm not prepared. So, what I want to do, and I might go all over the place, I want to be able to share the customs. I want to be able to have dialogue. I want to be able to go completely off script as long as you have me in the room to talk about all the other things that are on your mind coming to Israel and what have you. I would like also, because I know that everybody doesn't necessarily know everybody, because thank God we have a couple of different groups of people here. Before we do that, let me just go get the little bit of business stuff out of the way, by way of introducing me and my background, because some of you I'm just meeting for the first time in person, not or not in person, but not for the first time, so to speak. Um, so I'm Jonathan Feldstein. I'm so grateful, Chloe, for you organizing this as you always do, so graciously, and hosting us here. It's so nice to be able to host us on a day on the biblical calendar where you don't have to provide refreshments. And and I live in Israel. I was born in America. I spent my first 39 and a half years living here. My first five kids were born in America. My youngest was born, he's turning 21 next month. He was born in Israel. We moved in August of 2004. I live in a town called Efrat, which is just south of Jerusalem. When you come and see, hopefully it'll be a clear day from my balcony on the top floor of my building. You can see the panorama of Jerusalem. If you come and in the evening as the sun is setting to the west, you can even see with the naked eye sometimes the glitter of the sun on the Golden Dome, which is interesting to mention that that's currently the placeholder for where we're praying that the third temple will be placed. However, God wants to work that out, I don't know. But it's interesting that I even mentioned that here with you today. Um, Wife, six kids, three are married, one is soon to be married, five grandsons, ranging from 10 months to 7 years. And professionally, well, one day, once years ago, someone said how lucky I am that my vocation, my work, is my avocation, my passion. Many years ago, and not for now, in the 1980s, when I was much younger, some of your ages maybe, God truly called me to be to build bridges between Jews and Christians, and it's something that I needed to be in the land in order to be able to do, and I've been doing that now for most of the last 20 years. I started in 2017 after working for other organizations that were very happy for me to raise money among Christians. I started the Genesis 123 Foundation. I want to make sure that you all can take my cards to be in touch as well. There. Thanks. And when I put those out, that truly means be in touch. It's not the hi, nice to meet you, here's my card. I don't do that. I do relationships. And that's why I started the Genesis 123 Foundation. I didn't like the transactional approach among Jews and Israelis, but I see it among Christians as well, to talk to people like you and other Christians and simply try to get money out. God says, bless Israel and you'll be blessed. And I have this great, oh, people are joining. Hi, welcome everybody. Whoever's there. God says, bless Israel and you'll be blessed. I have this project. You should give money and you'll be blessed. I don't like that. That's very transactional. I'm a relational person. So in 2017, I started the Genesis 123 Foundation, as in Genesis 12:3, to do things my way, relational. Not everything always and only about money. And also with the realization that, yes, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you, are solid, true biblical statements. We believe that. But who here knows what's the conclusion of the verse? Genesis 12:3.
And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
Bingo. Thank you. And that's important. And you got the word right, families, because sometimes people misinterpret that as nations. It's actually the word is families. And so I take as my responsibility as a Jew, the responsibility to bless the families of the world. So a great story in 2000, I think it was 22, as COVID, our share of COVID was winding down. I landed here in Dallas with 3 70-pound suitcases filled with baby formula that I bought at my local supermarket in the Judean Mountains, the West Bank, where the manager is a Palestinian Arab Muslim from Hebron. And I bought and brought this baby formula to 2 churches here in the Dallas area because you were having a baby formula shortage in America. So I brought baby formula. And just something on my mind now, because I have friends who are in Tanzania at the moment, on October 7th of 23, among the 251 people who were taken hostage in Gaza were 2 Tanzanian agricultural students, both Christian. I raised money to provide material and psychological support for their families in Tanzania, thinking that they were part of us. These men were kidnapped, trying to learn agriculture that they could bring home to their home countries, and they were kidnapped and killed on that day. And I'm not saying that to make me sound so great. I'm not. I'm just Jonathan. But I want you to know what my heart is and why I'm even sitting on the floor here with you today. I really, truly invite you for dialogue. I want to give a very, very, very quick plug for 2 things just because I have them. This book first, I'm showing it to the camera, Israel the Miracle, is a book that we published just before, matter of fact, I'll pass it around, just before the war began. I didn't know the war was coming. And it's 75 essays by 75 Christian leaders from all around the world writing about why Israel is important to them and therefore should be to all Christians. I'm so proud of it because it's also, I just happened to open to a Dallas area pastor, Pastor Larry Huck. It's also a coffee table book. So it's illustrated with beautiful scenes of Israel. If anyone's interested in them, we still have copies. If anyone wants this last one, I have it. It's £3, and I don't need to take it on the airplane with me tomorrow. So I'll be glad to leave this as a copy if you want to buy one. And I have, if you want to buy one online from israelthemiracle.com, I want to invite you all to use the Jonathan 30 coupon code, which saves you 30%. Are they waiting? Oh, I saw people popping in. Oh, I feel so bad. I thought that they were there. There are 3 people. Here we go. I thought that they were there. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. Are you all there? I hope 3 of you are there. Amy, Christina, and Olivia. I hope so. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. Thanks for the thumbs up. I hope you can hear, and we'll continue. But if anyone wants this, there's the website. You can scan there's a QR code somewhere here, or just go to israelthemiracle.com. It's not meant to be a commercial pitch, but this is beautiful, and I would love for you to enjoy that. And while you're looking at that, this program is something I'm truly psyched about. Chloe, you got really excited about it when we met a year ago. This program, Root and Branch, I refer to as an olive harvest pilgrimage. It's so relevant to us, because us as Jews and Christians, because we are the root. And it's funny, I know this from Romans. We are the root, and you're the branches grafted in to a wild olive tree. And we harvest olives from wild olive trees throughout Israel. This coming year, this coming October, we will be harvesting olives across the Galilee in public national parks. Now, national parks in America, you think of as just big, beautiful places with lots of trees and mountains, right? And wildlife. In Israel, it's biblical, it's historic. So we're going to be harvesting olives, for instance, in one national park, as one of our guides explained, that was the main city next to where Jesus grew up in Nazareth. If he was visiting his grandparents, he would have come to this city. You'll also see the archaeological excavations in this city where we're going to be harvesting the olives to be able to connect biblically. And from that, and I can pass this around as well. Well, this is the box. It's a little squashed because it's been traveling with me, but we're making anointing oil, and we'll be making other olive products to sell, to use the proceeds to bring back to Israel to sponsor, to help people who have been impacted by the war. And I think, yep, I have a bottle of it here. I do need this back because I only have these 2 with, but you're welcome to not only open it and smell it. The fragrances are amazing, all biblical. It's 100% olive oil. The one that Christians will particularly know is spikenard, which is what Mary used to wash Jesus' feet, and was then, from I think the book of John, and still is, a very expensive fragrance. It's in here, which makes this a little bit more expensive than your average anointing oil. And I have to say this, because this makes the project even that much more unique and special. This is a full partnership. These are on the table and you can grab them, take them, put them on your refrigerator, even if you can't make it this year because you don't have a visa or a green card yet, or you're in school or work and can't, for whatever reason, put it on the refrigerator and pray about it and share it with someone else, because it's truly one of the most remarkable experiences. Oops. I think someone else, I don't know. Is someone else joined? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, yes. I'm gonna do my, well, but if it's facing me,
Right.
unless you want to log in and I make you an administrator and then you can do that.
Let's do that. I'm happy to do that.
So my partner in this, whose idea this was, is a woman named Marzia Amirizadeh. Not very American sounding. Marzi was born in Iran. She became a Christian in Iran. She was arrested and sentenced to death and spent 9 months in Evin prison because she became a Christian, and they were going to hang her. She is remarkable. She is an unbelievable inspiration. And then make yourself administrator somehow. Oh, co-host. Yep, amazing. Good, thank you.
Yeah,
And
you can just go.
And so everything that we do, when you get these cards, you'll see it's a full partnership between me and Genesis 123 Foundation and Marzi and her nonprofit, which is called newpersia.org. Marzi is one of the single most inspirational people that I have known. I get excited hearing her speak, and I'm an Orthodox Jew. So when she talks about her faith and her and God revealing himself to her through dreams and her relationship with Jesus and um, her testimony and her struggles as a Christian, I get excited. So I think if I'm excited about it, how can't any Christian be even more excited? So we're partners in this. She made the fragrance. She has the taste of in the two partnership of us, and the logo is all her doing. So anyway, I share this because it's really one of the things that excites me the most about what we're doing now. If you can make it in October, join us. If you can't this year, plan on it for next year. And if you know somebody who might be interested, please join. Maybe we should introduce ourselves.
Sure. Just our name.
Name, I don't know, what you do, favorite color, likes and dislikes. I don't know.
My name is Shasta. I am a postpartum doula. That's the word that I use. One there is. You've never had children yet. But yeah, I go to church in McKinney, and on Thursdays we pray for justice and the persecuted church.
Shasta. I'm Tiffany. I've been living in Dallas for the past 5 years. I've worked with an organization called Passages, and we take Christian college students to Israel, taken 12,000 in the last 10 years. And it's been the biggest joy of my life. And it's going to Israel and meeting the Jewish people has changed my life. So I'm very also passionate about Jewish-Christian relations. We're Facebook friends, and you are real. You are very right when you say you care about relationships, because you wished me a happy birthday for the past 6 years.
Wow.
Like every year, I know you're gonna wish me a happy birthday, like before anyone else.
As long as you mention it, sometimes I do that with everybody.
Yes, which is
But
impressive.
sometimes I get tired of it. I keep thinking, nah, not this year. But it's nice.
Yeah, no, that's
Thank you for
impressive.
saying
There's
that.
a lot of
Thank you
Facebook
for
friends
saying
out there.
that.
Thank you. So that's a little bit about me. My favorite color, I've been liking butter yellow. That has been a summer color that has caught my eye. It makes me feel nice and summery. So, but I don't own anything in butter yellow yet. Anyway, what's your name?
My name's Tezan, and I came here 2 years ago. I'm doing PhD right now in UTD, and I want to get to know more about Jewish and Israel, and I want to support Israel too. So yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Well, I'm Gina, and I'm from China. And I used to be an atheist before. And I just came to God last September. And I just got baptized
Wow.
on May.
Amazing.
House. And so I'm kind of really new Christian. And nowadays we do like oral tradition. So I like really want to understand more about Israelites. Yeah.
Great. I'm in to help.
My name is Ji Hye, originally from Korea. I came here as a missionary 23 years ago to reach the international student universities. So I'm looking at UTD right now, more international students know Jesus. So yeah, these are my students here. And who just came to the Lord, and then I teach the Bible from the Hebrew perspective, not the Christian perspective. So yeah, and I've been to Israel many times. Yeah, God has given us such a big heart for Jewish people. Yeah, I wanna see the Bible, read the Bible from the
Yeah.
which I context.
And hopefully we'll do something together in December.
Yes.
Hey there, my name is Galena. I'm Texas last year. I go to church in Fort Worth. I really love the topics today, talking about grief and lamentation. Something the Lord has been kind of leading me to read lately into. Not the fun, not the most joyful place, but you know, it really helps you when you go through something similar. It really helps you to connect to that on a different level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was supposed to go to Israel in 2022, before everything happened, when I still lived in Florida. But that didn't happen, so it's still my dream for like 10 years now. Go to Israel, so I'm not that
October.
October's already scheduled.
Okay. Next October. Who's back there?
It's me. I'm David. I learned about this through Tiffany, the passages. So I go to church in Saxe, Israel, and Jews are all over my Bible. So I'd love to get to know the history of where my faith comes from. But fun fact, I was born in Tanzania. So
No. Wow.
So appreciate you.
Wow. My heart is, I need my blood pressure medicine now. Amazing.
Been in Dallas since 2011.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
My name is Crystal. I work for an organization called A Million Women. And what we do, I'm the director of operations for the movement, and what we're doing is the nations that the Lord is opening up for us. Right now, we have a team in Nigeria, this Saturday gathering, but as we go to these nations, a part of our assignment is to train the national leaders and the Lord is opening up within the government to become sheep nations and stand with Israel. And our goal is to mobilize by starting 2029 1 million people to come to Israel and stand with her. And at the Western Wall and to pray, the Maranatha will pray, prayer, come Lord Jesus, come. Bless Israel. So, and of course, that with Israel. And I go to Upper Room and that's Chloe. I'm Chloe. I'm from Korea. I'm trying to like think through. We're from Korea. I had heart for Israel since 2015. And the Lord miraculously somehow placed me at Brooklyn, and my eyes open. You're the prophetic religion. I've been praying for the Jewish people ever since then. And I came to Dallas. God brought me and felt like I was like, you're gonna start something with Israel related things here, and then this rolled down. And I also have a heart for tech and AI. And so Christy, like some of the folks here work in AI and tech, and I see the correlation that goes bringing Israel and AI and tech people together. And so that's just my heart. And I love hosting people from Israel, and as well as love to teach about Israel to Gen Z and others about why Israel is important.
Wait, you mean there are others who host from Israel? I thought I was special.
Yeah.
Teasing, Chloe. And thank you for hosting tonight.
I'm Jackie. I went to Israel in November last year, and it was a life-changing experience. Actually, my life changed before even going to Israel. Chloe was actually one of the key players in that, and she has a Bible study on the Christian response to Israel from a biblical perspective and not a political perspective. And it was so helpful. So if you've not taken it, I highly recommend do the Bible study with Chloe. She's super knowledgeable. It's really easy. Anybody can do it, and it will enrich your understanding of the Lord and Israel and Christians today. So I fell in love with Israel. The Lord actually called me to go to Israel in December 2024, and I'm going in November 2025. I go to Upper Room now. I was last year going to Messianic Synagogue here in Dallas area, and again, I just got immersed in the Jewish culture that way through Shabbat, through going to synagogue, Torah readings, the blessings, like all of that. And it was so rich and beautiful.
And it just opened my eyes to see that without Israel, we are not blessed. Like, you know, and I have so many more thoughts. I'll stop there before I go on a rant, but yeah.
So, cool, my name's Dewey, I know half of you, and I absolutely don't know the other half of you.
Yes.
From Illinois originally, central Illinois, 2.5 hours from Chicago. Moved here in 2022 for Upper Room, just a long prophetic story with different things. And then I just temporarily moved back for my dad's health, just like last month. And then Tuesday, a week ago, he was declared cancer free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. As far as Israel goes, in 2008, my friend Andrew Whalen, we had a father in the Lord named John Chisholm that would teach out of Romans 9, Romans 10, Romans 11, and the importance of Israel. And from there, it was that whole like, Israel's the apple of God's eye. Well, if it's the apple of God's eye and God's the apple of my eye, then it's the apple of my eye. That was at least the heart posture I started taking. 2012, the Lord led me to intercede with Jewish people by not eating pork anymore. So I do that as best as possible anyway. And then 2020, just a major prophetic guy. I asked him just to pray for me. And he sent 3 things. And the middle one is, I hear the phrase Israel mandate. Maybe that means something. And I'm like, I have no clue, but yeah, it's all woven. And then IHOP KC, one thing 2009. My hotel room was next to the guy that led IHOP KC's Israel mandate. He's passed away, Jim, whatever his name is. And then, I just got involved in like the Dallas community with one of my best friends, Joseph Maloney. We've hosted so many Shabbats. And this last year, I've just been going deeper as far as Rosh Kodesh. And even last year, learning about the Tisha B'Av, Tu B'Av. I have some wild stories of some crazy things happening with friends last year right around this time.
Cool.
And so, crazy things as far as like things that would be mourning.
Oh,
yeah. Like, wow, this really is like a cursed time. And therefore, the repentance, the prayer, and also, the original spies not believing, so we need to believe, obviously. So, yeah. I don't know, that's me, I guess. Nice meeting y'all.
I love hearing everyone's stories and just heart for Israel. But Jonathan, thank you so much for being here. It's such a blessing that you're just sharing and guiding us through the remembrance, and I'm just really thankful you're doing this. But my name's Juliet. I am from Southern California. I moved to Dallas end of 2023, so it's been 2.5 years. And I moved in with Tiffany over here. And so she had, ever since knowing her, she was inviting me to Shabbat dinners, and a couple times I was planning a trip to Israel, and it ended up not working out the past couple of years. But God has really done, I think of a miracle in my heart as I'm like seeking the truth and going back to Genesis and learning about God's covenant and his heart, his plan. And so I've been asking the Lord, like, I just had a burden for Israel and a love for Israel, and asking the Lord to, I was meeting Jewish people, and so I'm like, Lord, what is going on? And so I ended up getting connected with, he's not my spiritual father, but he's a rabbi, and it was through a work event. And I was invited over for a Shabbat dinner, got connected, we did a Bible study. It was like, we were just on Genesis 12, and it was all about why God created the Jewish people, and just amazing long Bible studies. And it was really opening up my eyes. And the rabbi, him and his family, they do ministry in the Philippines, Mexico, and in Israel. So they spend about a quarter of the year in each place. And so, Lord willing, I'll be going in a couple months. For a couple months, I'll spend time in Jerusalem, and they minister to, love on the Holocaust survivors, and
they're actually really into AI too, and so we're creating just this AI system to be able to capture a lot of the stories from the Holocaust survivors to be able to pass down to generations, because the younger people, we need to know this, and so it's an exciting project and I can't wait.
Hi, my name's Dylan. I heard about this through Tiffany as well. I didn't really know what it was, and so I was like, you know what? It'd be fun to see what it is. Dallas native, but my family's from India, so I don't really know what else to say.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. If Steve, I'm from Chloe's and some others here, and just this Dallas guy. I also got to meet Jonathan earlier this year, and it was such a gift.
Was it this year or last year?
You beat those.
Yeah.
I've gotten to visit the land a few times, and yeah, my story. I wanted to be a missionary, and God sent me on a very non-traditional path to be a missionary. He sent me into the technology industry, and so I worked in big tech in San Francisco, and we started noticing some interesting things happening in our Christian community. And sure enough, it would always be aligned to like a Jewish holiday. So much so we hosted 12 hours of worship inside of Facebook headquarters. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And but then one of our intercessors was like, you do realize this is on the Feast of Tabernacles. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And so just different things kept happening where, and then it was like, you do know it's Purim. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then it all just kept aligning back to the Jewish calendar. And so we really started paying attention. And so we, I had previously already switched my Sabbaths to Saturdays. God just had me do that. I think back in 2017, he started me, I would Sabbath every Saturday instead of Sundays. And but then I later learned that's aligned also to the Jewish calendar. So it just kept being like this thread that God kind of took me on slowly but surely. And then I learned that, you know, actually the top tech teams at every technology company are all based in Israel. And so God's really loving this heart for the tech industry and for what I call hidden heroes that are making decisions for 7 billion views. And Startup Nation, which is Israel. And so if you have a heart for Israel, I also ask that you pray for the technology industry in Israel, because they are the most influential industry in Israel. And a lot of the people that went from the front lines of work are now back in their main jobs without a lot of support, without a lot of therapy and different things like that. And so God's really kind of woven my the two things he has given me a heart for. And we're so grateful. I got to meet Jonathan in the land, and he is such a papa. I'm just so grateful for his father's heart. And he's sitting here teaching us, and we're so grateful.
Thank you. There are a few of you on live on Zoom, and I hope you're hearing everybody, but I'm sure the audio is not so good. But do you want to say hi? Because I don't know who's there, and I see a heart. That's cute. Unmute. There we go. Say hi to everybody.
Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Olivia. I attend Upper Room. I first got I'm half Armenian, and so I grew up around a lot of Jewish people. My grandpa did business with a lot of Jewish people, and was always curious about Jewish people. And when I was 21, the Lord really marked my heart for Israel. I was watching a teaching from Lou Engle at Upper Room, and the Lord just completely shifted my entire heart. And I knew that I was called to Israel and to the Jewish people and to know more, and just really seeing them as family and as one body. And as I get to know more of my Armenian roots and just more of like my own people, I see the story of the Jewish people so much intertangled with the Armenian people. And that also, it just goes to show that God has been writing the story a lot longer than I even knew. So I have tried to go to Israel 3 different times this year. Each time it's gotten canceled. or like between last year and this year. So I have never gotten to go yet, but it is truly my heart's desire to go to the land and be there. Um, and yeah, hopefully I get to go one day in the Lord's timing. But
You
that's
may, you
me.
may have missed my spiel at the beginning about Root and Branch, but you're now currently you're now cordially invited to come join us and pick olives in October in the Galilee.
Amen. Well, that's my name, Olivia, so that's fitting.
Oh yeah, there you go. Right.
Thank
That works.
you.
Okay. Who else is with us on Zoom? Thanks, Olivia. Who else? Anyone? You see anyone else who's there?
There are others, but they're
Okay, well, if you want to interject and say hi, please do. Otherwise, I'm glad this is recording for everybody and for everyone who's not here or live. So it's now the 9th of Av. You mentioned before, and I'm glad you did, the spies, the 10 spies who came back with a bad report. That also happened on the 9th of Av. We always think about the destruction of the temples, both of them. And I think that's evidence enough. 2 temples destroyed on the same day, 600 years apart, on exactly the same day. Come on, there's just something in there that God wants us to understand. Preceding that, of course, the spies. That was pretty bad and considered a national, kind of like a national crime, that these people had no faith despite seeing the miracles. What do they say? Oh, they were giants and we were like grasshoppers in their eyes. Really? Wow, what terrible thing to say. And the only 2 names we remember, Joshua and Caleb, right? Because they're the ones who said, no, we can do it. And maybe that's the takeaway from all of this. But throughout the ensuing 1956 years, there have been many other calamities that we've suffered. In 1492, forgive me, I know the things, I don't know the precise date what happened, but the expulsion of the Jewish people from Spain and the Inquisition coincided with Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. Other things happened, now fast forwarding a lot, to the early 20th century when the Nazis met in a house somewhere, I forget the name, it's with a W, in Germany, and established the final solution. That it wasn't just good enough to keep us in ghettos, they were going to eliminate us. That was on Tisha B'Av. The liquidation of the Warsaw Ghetto was on Tisha B'Av. There's another one I had a card. Oh, it might even be in here.
Russian programs also.
Well, Russian pogroms took place over decades for a very long time. The outbreak of World War I was on Tisha B'Av, and that was believed to then be a trigger for what would then become World War II and the Holocaust. Here are my notes from at Daystar. Spain, the final solution, the Warsaw Ghetto, and in more contemporary times in 2005, which is the month that we moved into our own home in Israel, after living in a rented home for a year, the expulsion of the Jewish communities from Gaza. And while we could have a whole night just talking about Jewish communities in Gaza and what that meant, and should they have been there, should they not have been there, was it militarily defensible, without much of an argument, had there been a presence in Gaza the past 20 years, perhaps the massacre on October 7th, 3 years ago, wouldn't have happened. We don't know. Only God knows. There's a book that a friend of mine who wrote an essay in that book, Bob Odell, published. It's about this thick, and it's called The List. It's specifically a list of crimes that were committed against the Jewish people by the church. Now, my point here is not to harbor on that. Whether we're new Christians or non-Christians or Christians who have had a heart for Israel since 2015 or before that. It's unfortunately part of not your history, but because uh, the Jewish history is my history. Christian history is not. I don't believe it's not your history. It's just something that happened by people who, in some capacity, affirmed faith in Jesus. It's quite shocking, I suspect, to all of you that anyone would be so hateful, much less to um, the chosen people. But unfortunately, that happened. And I, the thing that I don't want to forget before we really just jump in is after tomorrow night, we begin, and if anyone wants the teachings, I have it in draft, and you're invited now to please really be in touch. If you connect by Facebook, I'll send you a birthday notice for a year. But the thing that's really important, and I started writing about this afternoon, is that tomorrow night we begin a period that's called the 7 weeks of comfort. We've now actually been through a period of 3 weeks of leading up to this morning. The one thing, because for a whole lot of reasons, that I don't do as an Orthodox Jew, that you would see most Orthodox Jewish men do during this 3 week period, or certainly the last 9 days, is not shave. Not shaving is a sign of mourning. When my mother died, I already had a beard and it was overgrown, and for 30 days I didn't shave, and my beard wasn't quite Santa Claus length, but it was really full. But because I do media and because it's hard to explain in a Christian group that's not as intimate as this, why I look so disheveled by having an overgrown beard, it doesn't look full on me like people who are your ages, who can grow a little stubble and look cheap. It doesn't look good on me. It just looks like I don't care for myself. So I electively choose not to. But the point of that is we're beginning a period of 7 weeks of comfort. Now, I believe this. This is not rhetoric. I believe that you are part of that, you individually, and you collectively, as to the millions and tens and hundreds of millions of Christians that you represent all over the world. We're still grieving. We're still fighting a war that began not quite 3 years ago. My son is in Lebanon for the second time. He's been in Syria and Gaza. My son-in-law, I don't even know what he's called up to do now, but he's got a new position, leaving my daughter and their 4 children home alone. I'm worried. Okay, I won't say it because we're recording now. So you're part of that, because since October 7th of 23, I've spoken about this, I've written about this, and I believe this, that there has been no greater support from Christians for Israel and the Jewish people in history, period. I don't mean since the foundation of the state of Israel. I'm talking about since the birth of the church. 1800 years ago, we have never seen, not when Israel was declared a state, not the 6-Day War and the reunification of Jerusalem, not when Donald Trump recognized Jerusalem as the capital, or the millennia, or nothing. You stepped up. Now, there's a parallel truth that we need to deal with. There aren't enough Christians who step up. That's your job. Some Jewish guy once said something about making disciples. That's your job. Okay. But I want to jump in. We have very traditional ways that we do things. Some of you have spent Shabbat with me. It's completely traditional, but in a very untraditional way. This is pretty traditional, but in a very untraditional way. But you're my community today, and so we're going to do together what I would normally be doing if I were at home, or if I chose to go to a synagogue in North Dallas where I don't know anybody, and instead of sitting on the floor in Chloe's apartment, I'd be sitting on the floor in some synagogue around other Jewish people. Very candidly, this is more meaningful to me. And so, and it's a pleasure. What's normally done, and we'll figure out in a moment how we're going to do it, is the whole book of Lamentations is read. actually, if someone has that link open, I didn't test it, but there's even I think there's an audible link, which we'll get to in a moment. So maybe you can hear for a moment how it sounds like the tune is mournful. Because we are beginning a mournful day. You know, there's if you watch a great movie, the music is choreographed to go with whatever's happening in the movie. Our music today, it's not worship, the reading of the book of Lamentations, which is one of those easy books to flip by and not seem terribly relevant today to all of us, but it's there for a reason, my goodness. And so today we're going to explore that reason. If I were at home or if I were in North Dallas at an Orthodox synagogue, what would happen is either one person would read the whole book in this mournful tone in Hebrew, or 5 different people would read each different chapter. I'd like for there to be more participation, and when we begin, for everyone to get a few turns and we can just go around and read. 7's a good number, 7 verses until we finish it. But when we do, I want to ask you to try to put yourself in the position of mourning. And to the extent that there's time, and we want to talk about it or explain what does it mean. On Day Start today, they asked me a question. Well, what does it mean to Christians and to Jews? Well, it does, my goodness. The temples were referred to as a house of prayer for all nations. That's you. Jesus worshiped there. Jesus preached there. People who want to undermine the existence of the temple, I always say, well, where was it then that Jesus overturned the tables of the money changers, if not in the temple? And part of the problem of the absence of the temple, other than the fact that we can't worship God in the same way we did 1957 years ago. Oh, I've lost my train of thought, sorry. Other than the fact that we can't worship God in the same way, it was an undermining of the very essence of life. Jews, you probably know this, when we pray, we face Jerusalem. Still today. When we're in Israel or in Jerusalem, we pray facing the Temple Mount. And if you have a good sense of geography, you'll know which direction you need to face. You know where the Temple Mount is. That's still the center of our lives. Our daily worship, we reaffirm that. At weddings, you've seen, if you haven't experienced a Jewish wedding, but you've probably seen it in movies and things, we step on a glass under the chuppah, under the canopy, to remind us that even on our most joyous days, we still are grieving for the loss and the destruction of the temples and everything that went with that today, went with that then. And so I'd like for us to try and get, what does it mean to you? I'm not asking that now. I'd like to get through the book and then see, as long as you guys want to stay and as long as I'm up for it, I'll stay and talk. What does it mean for you that there's no temple? I know what it means for me, but what does it mean for you? And then I just want to overlay that with one more thing. I'm not going to get into the whole recap of all of what happened on October 7th of 23. That was a horrific day, personally and nationally. And in one of the interviews or briefings or conferences that I spoke at on this last month, someone referred to the Jewish people being in PTSD. I said, correct. Present trauma stress disorder. The war's not over. It's still in front of us. It's still in front of us. And the point I wanted to share, after October 7th, for a lot of reasons, I didn't leave the house because my son was called up, my oldest son, and my wife. I was supposed to go on a book tour to promote the book. My wife said, "You can't leave Israel. If something happens, I won't be able to forgive you." She was right. but I couldn't leave anyway. And most of my Christian friends uninvited me from the book events. They said, your place is at home with your family. But I literally didn't leave the house because my son and daughter-in-law were newlyweds. They had been married 3 months and 5 days. They hadn't even moved into their own apartment together. They were living in her parents' apartment, home, which is, thank God, in our neighborhood, so we were close. And I thought to myself, my God, if something happens to him, as horrific and devastating as that will be personally, I need to be, what did you say, Papa?
Yeah.
I need to be there. I need to be present because they won't know where to find my daughter-in-law. They won't know where to find my kids. Or the Army does. And I also made the calculation that if my wife was home and I was not, and God forbid that knock on the door came. When I say knock on the door, that's literally what the Army does. They knock on the door, they don't ring the doorbell. Once our neighbors across the hall during this period knocked on the door and my heart flipped out. Yeah. If that were to happen and my wife was there, as devastating what would be for her personally and for us as a family, I couldn't allow that to happen, me not to be there. The few times that I did go out of the house and the few times I went into Jerusalem, I found Jerusalem desolate. I felt like I was living the Book of Lamentations. It's not like that now. When you come to Israel, you're gonna come with me to the cafes and falafel, and then the shuk, and then we're gonna just go eating tours and touring tours, and olive picking tours, and all of the fun stuff that you do. It's not like that now, but my goodness, it was desolate. It was also during this way a little bit during COVID, but this time was more so. They even locked the gate on the Jaffa gate. You had to. It was just so surreal. So what I'd like to do, and for those of you who either have your actual Bibles or the verse, does someone have the link? Okay, so someone, if you have the link, look at the top, please, and just see if the audio.
Yeah.
What does the audio do?
It plays, I just turned it on.
Okay, please.
Yeah, it just.
Let's just hear it for a minute. It's not upbeat. Nor should it be. Echa, which is the Hebrew word, means alas. So let's start with somebody who has it, and let's just start reading around 7 verses and then pass to the next. Want to start?
This version or?
Sure. Any version. I mean, it's all the what's it called? The translations may be the same, may not be the same, but we're going to get the same message.
7 verses.
Please.
How lonely sits the city that was full of people. How like a widow has she become, she who is great among the nations. She who was a princess among the provinces has become a slave. She weeps bitterly in the night with tears on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she has none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They have become her enemies. Judah has gone into exile because of affliction and hard servitude. She dwells now among the nations, but finds no resting place. Her pursuers have all overtaken her in the midst of her distress. The roads to Zion mourn, for none come to the festival. All her gates are desolate. Her priests groan. Her virgins have been afflicted, and she herself suffers bitterly. Her foes have become the head, her enemies prosper, because the Lord has afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children have gone away, captives before the foe. From the daughter of Zion, all her majesty has departed. Her princes have become like deer that find no pasture. They fled without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembers in the days of her affliction and wandering all the precious things that were hers from days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the foe, and there was none to help her. Her foes gloated over her. They mocked at her downfall.
Jerusalem sinned greatly, therefore she has become an unclean thing. All who honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Even she herself groans and turns away. Her uncleanliness was in her skirts. She did not consider her future. Therefore she has fallen astonishingly. She has no comforter. See, O Lord, my affliction, for the enemy has magnified himself. The adversary has stretched out his hand over all her precious things, for she has seen the nation enter her sanctuary, the ones whom you commanded that they should not enter into her congregation. All her people groaned, seeking bread. They have given her their precious things for food, to restore their lives themselves. See, O Lord, and look, for I am despised. Is it nothing to you all who pass this way? Look and see if there is any pain like my pain, which was severely dealt out to me, which the Lord inflicted on the day of his fierce anger. From on high he sent fire to my bones, and it prevailed over them. He has spread a net for my feet. He has turned me back. He has made me desolate, faint all day long. The yoke of my transgressions is bound. By his hands they are knit together. They have come upon my neck. He has made my strength fail. The Lord has given me into the hands of those against whom I am not able to stand.
Um,
7 verses.
the Lord has treated my mighty man with contempt. At his command, a great army has come to crush my young warriors. The Lord has trampled his beloved city like grapes are trampled in a wine press. For all these things I swear. Tears roll down my cheeks. No one is here to comfort me. Any who might encourage me are far away. My children have no future, for the enemy has conquered us. Jerusalem reached out for help, but no one comforts her. Regarding his people Israel, the Lord has said, let their neighbors be their enemies. Let them be thrown away like a filthy rag. The Lord is right, Jerusalem says, for I rebelled against him. Listen, people everywhere look upon my anguish and despair, for my sons and daughters have been taken captive to distant lands. I begged my allies for help, but they betrayed me. My priests and leaders starved to death in the city, even as they searched for food to save their lives. Lord, see my anguish. My heart is broken and my soul despairs, for I have rebelled against you. In streets the sword kills, and at home there is only death. Others heard my groans, but no one turned to comfort me. When my enemies heard about my troubles, they were happy to see what you have done. Oh, bring the day you promised when they will suffer as I have suffered. Look at all their evil deeds, Lord. Punish them as you have punished me for all my sins. My groans are many, and I'm sick at heart.
Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me for all my transgressions. For my eyes are many and my heart is faint. How hath the Lord covered with a cloud the daughter of Zion in his anger? He hath cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and hath not remembered his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up unsparingly all the habitations of Jacob. He hath thrown down his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath profaned the kingdom and the princes thereof. He hath cut off in fierce anger all the horn of Israel. He hath drawn back his right hand from before the enemy, and he hath burned in Jacob like flaming fire, which devours round about. This hath been his all like an enemy, standing with his right hand as an adversary, and hath slain all that were pleasant to the eye. In the tent of the daughter of Zion, he hath poured out his fury like fire. The Lord is become as an enemy. He hath swallowed up Israel. He hath swallowed up all her palaces. He hath destroyed his strongholds, and he hath multiplied in the daughter of Judah mourning and mourning. And he hath stripped his tabernacle as if it were a garden. He hath destroyed his place of assembly. The Lord has caused to be forgotten in Zion, appointed season and the Sabbath, and has rejected in the nation of his anger the king and the priest.
8, right?
It's
Seven.
The Lord has burned his altar. He has abandoned his sanctuary. He has given up the walls of her palaces into the hand of the enemy. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as on the day of the set feast. The Lord has purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He has not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore, he has caused the rampart and wall to lament. They languish together. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken the bars. Her king and her princes are among the nations. The law is no more, and her prophets find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground and keep silence. They throw dust on their heads and gird themselves with sackcloth. The virgin of Jerusalem bow their heads to the ground. My eyes fail with tears, my heart is troubled, my bile is poured on the ground, because of the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the infants faint in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, where is grain and wine? As they swoon like the wounded in the streets of the city, as their life is poured out in their mother's bosom. How shall I console you? To what shall I liken you, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I compare with you that I may comfort you, O virgin daughter of Zion? For your ruin is spread wide as the sea. Who can heal you? Your prophets have seen for you false and deceptive visions. They have not uncovered your iniquity to bring back your captives, but have envisioned for you false prophecies and delusions.
All who pass along the way clap their hands. They hiss and shake their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city of which they said, perfect in beauty, and joy to all the earth? All your enemies have opened their mouths wide against you. They hiss, gnash their teeth. They say, we have engulfed her. This certain is the day which we have waited. We have reached it. We have seen it. The Lord has done what he determined. He has accomplished his word, which he commanded days of old. He has torn down, without sparing. He has helped the enemy to rejoice over you. He has exalted the minds of your adversaries. Their heart cried out to the Lord. You all, daughter of Zion, let your tears stream down like a river day and night. Give yourself no relief. Let your eyes have no rest. Arise, whimper in the night. At the beginning of night, watchers, pour out your heart like water before the presence of the Lord. Raise your hands to the life of your little ones. Languish because of hunger at the head of every street. See, Lord, look with whom you have dealt this way. The women really eat their children, the little ones who are born healthy. Should priest, prophet really be killed in the sanctuary of the Lord? On the ground of the streets lie my virgins and the young men fallen by the sword. You have put them to death on the day of your anger. You have slaughtered without sparing.
As of the day of Moed, sudden against me terrors on every side. On the day of the wrath of Adonai, no one escaped or survived. Those whom I bore and raised my enemy has destroyed. I am the strong man who has seen affliction by the waters of death. He has driven me and made me walk through darkness and not light. Thirdly, he has turned his hand against me again and again all day long. He had made my flesh and my skin waste away, broken my bones. He has besieged me and surrounded me with bitterness and hardship. He had made me dwell in dark places like those long dead.
He has, excuse me. He has walled me in so I can't escape. He has weighed me down with chains. Even when I cry out, pleading for help, shuts out my prayer. He has barred my way with blocks of stone, and he has made my path crooked. He lies in wait for me like a bear, like a lion in hiding. He has forced me aside and torn me to pieces, leaving me stunned. He has bent his bow and used me as a target for his arrows. He has pierced my vital organs with shafts from his quiver. I'm a laughing stock to all my people, the butt of their taunts all day long.
He has filled me with bitterness. He has made me drink wormwood. He has also broken my teeth with gravel and covered me with ashes. You have moved my soul far from peace. I've forgotten prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope have perished from the Lord. Remember my affliction and roaming through wormwood and the gall. My soul still remembers and sinks within me. This I recall to my mind. Therefore I have hope.
But in my mind, I keep returning to something that gives me hope, that the grace of Adonai is not exhausted, that his compassion is not ended. They are new every morning. How great your faithfulness. Adonai is all I have, I say. Therefore, I will put my hope in him. Adonai is good to those waiting for him, to those who are seeking him out. It is good to wait patiently for the saving help of Adonai. It is good for a man to bear the yoke from his youth. Let him sit alone in silence when he has laid it on him. Let him submit absolutely. There may yet be hope. Let him offer his cheek to the one who strikes it and receive his fill of insults. For rejection by Adonai does not last forever. He may cause grief, but he will take pities, in keeping with the greatness of his grace. For he does not arbitrarily torment or punish human beings. When anyone tramples underfoot any of the prisoners of the land, when anyone deprives a person of justice in defiance of the Most High, when someone is cheated of justice in court, does Adonai not take note of such things?
Who can speak and have it happen? The Lord is not defeated. Is it not from the mouth of the Most High that both Elamites and good things come? Why should the living complain and punish for their sins? Let us examine our ways and test them, and let us return to the Lord. Let us lift up our hearts and our hands to God in heaven and say, we have sinned and rebelled, and you have not forgiven. You have covered yourself with anger and pursued us. You have slain without pity. You have covered yourself with a cloud, so that no air can get through. You have made us scum and refuse of the nations.
All our enemies are the mouth against us. And I can fall have come upon us, devastation and destruction. My eyes flow with rivers and tears because of the destruction of the daughter. My eyes will flow without ceasing, without restraint. Until the Lord that it was still cease. My eyes consecrate. And the day of all our daughters amazing. I am become like a bird by those who are my enemies without cause. They flung me alive into the pit and cast stones on me.
The water rose over my head, and I cried out, this is the end. But I called on your name on the day of the heat. You heard me when I cried, listen to my pleading. Hear my heart for help. Yes, you came when you told me, do not fear. Warrior to my defense. You have redeemed my life. You have seen the wrong they have done to me. Be my judge and prove me right. You have seen the vengeful paths my enemies have laid against me. Lord, you have heard the vile names they call me. You know all about the plans they have made. My enemies whisper in murder as they plot against me. All of them. Look at them. Whether they sit or stand, I am the object of their mocking songs.
Pay them back, Lord, for all the evil that they have done. Give them hard and stubborn hearts, and then let your curse fall on them. Chase them down in your anger, destroying them beneath the Lord's heavens. How the gold has lost its luster. Even the finest gold has become dull. The sacred gemstones lie scattered in the streets. See how the precious children of Jerusalem, worth their weight in fine gold, are now treated like pots of clay made by a common potter. Even the jackals feed their young, but not my people, Israel. They ignore their children's cries like ostriches in the desert. The parched tongues of their little ones stick to the roofs of their mouths in thirst. The children cry for bread, but no one has any to give it. No one has any to give them.
Those who once feasted on delicacies perish in the streets. Those who were brought up in purple embrace ash heaps. For the chastisement of the daughter of my people has been greater than the punishment of Sodom, which was overthrown in a moment, and no hands were wrung for her. Her princes were purer than snow, whiter than milk. Their bodies were more ruddy than coral. The beauty of their form was like sapphire. Now their face is blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin has shriveled on their bones. It has become as dry as wood. Happier were the victims of the sword than the victims of hunger who wasted away, pierced by a lack of the fruits of the field. The hands of compassionate women have boiled their own children. They became their food during the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord gave full vent to his wrath. He poured out his hot anger, and he kindled a fire in Zion that consumed its foundations.
The kings of the earth did not believe, nor did any of the inhabitants of the world, that the adversary and the enemy could enter the gates of Jerusalem. because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests who have shed in her midst the blood of the righteous. They wandered blind in the streets. They were defiled with blood so that no one could touch their garments. Depart, unclean, they cried of themselves. Depart, depart, do not touch. So they fled and wandered. Men among the nations said, they shall not continue to dwell with us. The presence of the Lord has scattered them. He will not continue to regard them. They did not honor the priests. They did not favor the elders. Yet our eyes failed. Looking up, looking for help was useless. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save. They hunted our steps so that we could not walk in our streets. Our end drew near. Our days were finished, for our end has come.
Our enemies were swifter than eagles in flight. If we fled to the mountain, they found us. If we hid in the wilderness, they were waiting for us there. Our King, the Lord's anointed, the very life of our nation, was caught in their snares. We have thought that his shadow would protect us against any nation on earth. Are we rejoicing in the land of Oz, O people of Adam? But you, too, must drink from the cup of Lord's anger. You, too, will be stripped naked in your drunkenness, a beautiful Jerusalem. Your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile. But Adam, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. Lord, remember what has happened to us. See how we have been disgraced. Our inheritance has been turned over to strangers, our homes to foreigners. We are orphaned and fatherless. Our mothers are widowed.
We have to pay for water to drink, and even firewood is expensive. Those who pursue us are at our heels. We are exhausted by our given no waste. We submitted to Egypt and Assyria to get through food to survive. Our ancestors sinned, but they have died, and we are suffering the punishment they deserved. Slaves have now become our masters. There is no one left to rescue us. We hunt for food at risk of our lives. For violence rules the countryside. The famine has blackened our skin as through baked in an oven. Our enemies raped the women in Jerusalem and the young girls in all the towns of Judah. Our princes are being harmed by their sons, and our elders are treated with contempt.
The young man growled at the millstones. The boys staggered under loads of wood. The elders have ceased gathered at the gate, and the young man on the music. The joy of our heart has ceased. Our dance has turned into mourning. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us, for we have sinned. Because of this, our heart is faint. Because of these things, our eyes grew dim. Because of Mount Zion, which is desolate, with foxes walking about on it. You, O Lord, remain forever. Your throne from generation to generation.
Yeah. Why will you forget us forever? Why do you abandon us for so long? Restore us to you, so that we may be restored. Renew our days at the fold. See that utterly rejected us. Their exceeding anger.
I was jotting down a lot of comments. First of all, that last praise that you just read, restore us, O Lord. That's something that in our congregations we all read together aloud. And so it's prayer, right? I kept wanting to look down, not at all of you during this, because it's just hard. I want to hear from you, but there are a couple of things to share or to ask rhetorically. Um, we take it as a Jewish thing, this destruction of the second temple that was done because of our sins, what we call baseless hatred, sinach chinam, hating one another, not being unified. In a military perspective, that makes sense. Weren't unified, we couldn't come back as we're exploring, entering, we're in the midst of a political season in Israel now, with elections at the end of October. We're in a very divisive period, and this is a season that reminds us that we need to be strong and unified together. But I read this and I listen to you read it, and I wonder, how is this even in the Bible? Right? What does it make sense? What's the point? What's God's message? But I think in a lot of ways, I was listening to you, the verses you each read, but all that, and your own audible comments, but other and responses, but audible comments and responses to other people's verses. It resonates still. I'll never forget that Shasta the doula, right, read about mothers boiling their babies. Yeah. Wow. How you all feel?
It's okay to cry. It's okay. You don't have to stop it.
Yeah. Anybody? Anyone have any great insight why this is canonized in both our Bibles?
I remember a few years ago, I was afraid to grieve. And it was one season that I felt the Lord's invitation to go into a season of Lent. And it honestly terrified me. Like, I'm gonna be stuck for the next 10 years. Like that was my fear. And I felt drawn to the book of Revelations. And in that space, I think we are far more afraid of suffering than purpose. And it's not that he made us to suffer. I don't think we were originally designed to suffer, but because of the choices we make, we suffer. And we suffer because of the choices of other people. Something that hit me a few weeks ago as I was taking a walk, going back to the night of Bob with the spies. Joshua and Caleb did everything right. They went in the land, they spied out the land, they saw the same tribes, they brought back the same courage. They did all the right things and they encouraged Israel to have faith. And yet the voices of the 10 other spies drowned out their voices and caused an entire nation to fall into fear. And I remember I was on that walk and I so clearly heard the book say, do not let the sins of other people cause you fall to your own sin. And I realized that I let the sins of other people, what they had done,
affect me and harden my heart and see God wrong. And he's not afraid of my suffering. And he's not afraid of our suffering. You know, we are, but he's not. And go back to the book of Limitations. It is an invitation to join God in suffering. It is an invitation because he came and he suffered with us. He even talks about in Mike that I read this morning, he refines us like a silversmith refines silver, but the silversmith's hand is in the fire with the silver. Like he's in the fire with us, and he's not afraid of my suffering. And so when he's not afraid, I can enter my suffering. But once I enter my suffering, I can now enter the suffering of another human being and give them space to suffer, give them space to agree, and not try to push them along, but to simply sit with them in the ashes.
That's a great comment. I remember after my father died, it's 30 years ago. My rabbi in New Jersey would have a tradition before the biblical festivals. During the festivals, he would speak because that's also a day in which we mourn our loved ones. And he unfortunately, my rabbi died this past year. He was such a great thinker. And this is a man I was 31, 30 years ago. He was probably closer to 50. All of his parents were alive. He never suffered or experienced loss. And I remember him doing a teaching for the whole congregation, which was so smart of him. And he made a comment, which is how when we go through suffering, we go through loss, it helps us be more empathetic for other people's loss. And I didn't know that before my father died. And I went up to him afterward and I said, it's true. And it was so insightful from this man whose parents were alive. But then I said, selfishly, I would still rather have my father alive and not be as empathetic to people. But I think your point is a great point. We do have to have that. Maybe we shouldn't flip. If only once a year reading this can teach us that lesson. Anyone else have any thoughts? I had a question I wanted to ask you, but I don't remember what it was.
I think it's very pastoral to put this in like the rhythm once a year. I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. We avoid hard things or sad things or I found my heart leaping at the couple of verses that were his steadfast love or his mercy there every morning. And I used to totally just avoid these verses in the Bible, and then God really grabbed me. It's like, if you really want to know me, you have to know my suffering. And I think it is this kindness and a really pastoral shepherd to give us at least one day a year where we have space for mourning, we're encouraged for mourning, and grief is not linear. And so I would imagine this is my first time honoring this day, but I'm looking forward to holding this day every year now because it's important to hold space for grief in the morning. And something that the Lord showed me recently out of Revelation 1, in circles that we run, and we often talk about the eyes of fire of Jesus of Revelation 1. But the Lord asked me to meditate on his feet that are burnished bronze. And that revelation is really helpful. It shows that Jesus stands in the midst of the fire. And that feeling of the fire is hard and difficult. Some of these things that I'm being shared, it's just knowing that Israel has been through the last years. It stands in the fire. It is not far away God. It's that's what it's like. And I think it's so pastoral for it to include these passages to know that this is part of this life. This Because being a scientist can't explain tears. And it just shows that we have a creator God that created and designed us and gave us tears. So grateful that I'm also got this senior he grabs every single one of our tears. So he's so intimately involved in our tears.
When I was reading some of the verses that I had, speaking about the children, I don't remember the precise language, cast in gold. I was seeing my grandchildren in Israel, very personal, and what they've grown up in, and barring any kind of miracle, what my 7-year-old will inherit in 12 years. He'll put on the uniform. And mentioning tears, there will be tears of pride, profound, and tears of fear. Because he'll be a combat soldier like his father. My 5-year-old grandson, I was reading to him. I've told this story a few times this past month. I went over to visit them before I left to come to America, and I was reading them a Dr. Seuss book. I don't remember the name of the book, but I took a picture of the page in one of the books. It's about what you yourself, your characteristics. Maybe it's called the book about me. I don't know. And on one of the pages, it's all a page of noises. I can make the noise of a train, of a chicken, of a cow, of a sheep, of a fire truck. And my 5-year-old grandson, and then there are 5 or 6 lines at the bottom of the right-hand page where you can make other noises. My 5-year-old grandson was an unbelievable impersonation of an air raid siren. Shouldn't be. How did it? I don't. I also got one of the verses. Some of the verses relating to vengeance. God taking vengeance on our enemies, the people who have done this. I think Jewish and Christian perspectives, certainly on forgiveness, are very different. Did any of you have any thoughts on hearing the words relating to vengeance? How did that make you feel?
I think personally, I have the story of unforgiveness, and it haunted me down until the last moment that I had to forgive this person. That one of the Bible verses says, "Vengeance is on mine, and it's not yours to be." And so, for me, I didn't really understand that until I had that experience. And the Lord was protecting my. I was like, "Let go. You're not vengeance is not yours. We need to let that go." I didn't know until how God redeemed the story. But yeah, I think is what Israel went through. It's not fair. It is not fair. Neither we over that because it's just not fair. Like a whole story, they obeyed God and they were following God, and the fact that they have to suffer, and it's just really it's not fair. And so seeing that the Lord's like profit, it's not redemption, it's not yours. Yeah, and so that's when I see it in through God. The Lord, the vengeance is all God, it's his portion, and it's all on Israel. And so it's just I don't know where I'm going towards right now, but the whole history with Israel was not fair. All I'm just saying that was not fair. And in Christian perspective, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, it's that works of the enemy. Like there is a spiritual realm that does this, and we're not fighting against flesh and blood. So yeah, it's not fair.
So I grew up in the same same right, vengeance, not ours. So these verses like 64, 65, 66, repay them, O Lord, according to the word.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Okay, so this is, when I read this, to me, it's very uncomfortable because regardless what they've done to me, am I the one is able to even say to God, I think he should be paid to them in person?
Wow.
You know, so I said with these very uncomfortable because of they just forgive and because that is the Lord. So I'm like, how are these verses right here? You know what I mean? Kind of uncomfortable to me because like asking curse on somebody. It's like,
Well, what Chloe said is vengeance is his. So you're just, those verses could be just asking God to exert his vengeance. If he's going to do it, he's not, Chloe, I like what you said. I think it's insightful. Okay, don't you do it. Forgive. I'll get it at the right time. I mean, personally, I virtually spike the football in the end zone every time I hear of another Hamas terrorist getting killed. We're doing it, but
the Lord, yeah.
I mentioned earlier that we pray for justice in the persecuted
Yeah.
church on Thursdays, and part of praying for justice sometimes means praying for mercy, but sometimes it's just like, God, like if you can be merciful, then be merciful. But if there's not repentance and if there's not turning back,
Yeah.
then you're the God of justice. Like you can't let this keep happening. Because there are injustices, there are injustices that God hates. God hates the way that people misuse and mistreat Israel. He hates the abuse and molestation of children. He hates human trafficking. These are injustices. And vengeance is his. And woe to the one who reaps the vengeance of the Lord. And as Dewey said earlier, Israel is the apple of God's eye. And people are poking it. And pity them. Because he will have vengeance.
Hebrews talks about how it is a terrifying thing to fall in the hands of the anger of God.
anyone else? I'm happy to sit. You
Ezekiel
all have work tomorrow.
36 promises that it is actually to vindicate his holy name, that he will bring vengeance and will prove to all the nations he is the Lord our God through the nation of Israel. And just with everything that's been happening over the last few years, I feel like Ezekiel 36 has been this promise to cling to know the God of vengeance, watching like what's happening in the world is watching. And I'm like, wow, God, like you will prove that you are the God of vengeance of Israel. And it actually says it's not even for your sake, O Israel, that I'm about to act. It is for the sake of his holy name.
Yeah. That's right.
So that is also difficult to wrestle with. But it was like, okay, God, I believe that you will do that. Like Israel is not perfect. But I believe that you will vindicate your holy name. And it is through Israel, it is through the God of vengeance on behalf of Israel, who will prove to all the nations that he is God. And it's been my heart cry. It's been a prayer that Israel know the God of vengeance. Fear of the Lord.
What else? Any?
I can go back to the suffering part. And this is where I can even share last year preparing for the Ninth of Ab, the story of my friend Tyler with Knox Banner, their baby that passed. So early on in my Christian walk, there's a pastor named Brandon Grant, and he basically did like an object lesson on suffering. And so what he did was, okay, we're starting hot and heavy. Out of this crowd of 300, anybody that's had a parent or legal guardian die of cancer, stand up. And there was like 5 people that stood up. He's like, can I look around? He had them look at each other. There was this like, yeah. And then he was, okay, now anybody that's had like a family member or a friend that died of cancer, and then like maybe, I don't know, 50 more people stand up. And it was like, anybody that's had anybody that they know of died of cancer, including this famous celebrity we all just heard died of cancer yesterday. Everybody stood up. They're like, okay, everybody sit down. Now, everybody that's been on vacation in Hawaii in the last 2 years, stand up. And it's like, whoop. There's 5 people that stood up. He's like, notice the exact same number of people that had a parent die of cancer, also same number that went to Hawaii. But there is a certain bond that this group had of empathy together.
Wow.
And he said, suffering bonds us closer together, and ultimately to the one that suffered the most by dying for us on the cross. And it's like he created that visual. And so for me, it's created like a whole new lens of suffering. Where like that James 1:2, where it says, I looked up to it, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials and sufferings, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect, complete, lacking in nothing. And so, yeah, that's another framework to throw your guys' way. That helps you with suffering or whatever, being able to bond closer to suffering. And then, yeah, getting ready for, I'll go and share the testimony from the 9th of last year. That was on August 3rd last year. So I was preparing for it. I was praying into it. I was praying, Lord, what do you have for promises? Yes, I'm going to be the Joshua and Caleb that says yes. Everything else. And my friend Tyler, his wife Delaney, back in Illinois, they were having some complications with the pregnancy. They were about 23 weeks and got into the hospital. That Tuesday, July 29th, they sent out an update, hey, we're going on this caringbridge.org. So we're not texting anybody, but this is doing great so far. So I didn't hear anything until Thursday the 31st. And my friend mentioned, oh, that's too bad with Delaney and the baby. What? What happened? And so I go back onto this website that never gave me the update to a pray. And it was on that Wednesday, July 30th last year, that Knox Banner Blanks was born, went through a lot of different stuff, and 9 hours later passed away. And so one of my best friends went through intense suffering leading up to that 9th of Av. And yeah, I guess the redemption of that story, I had just gotten what my friend Jacob had called prophetic promise shoes, these black and white Vans that were given to him, that they said, he who walks in the shoes walks in the promises. And then when he moved out, he left those shoes. And he's like, dude, I feel like you're supposed to have those shoes, man. He who walks in the shoes walks in the promises. And so I was wearing those when I visited Tyler, just to do like what you said, sit with him, empathize with him as much as possible. I've not been through, the loss of a child or anything like that. And just sit with him, love him. And then I noticed the little shoes they got baby Knox were the same exact black and white Vans. Like, wow. And so then that became revival at the cemetery, where every time I went back to Illinois, to Bloomington Normal, I'd go to Knox Banner's grave and I'd pray. And then there was just one time in, I think, November. I remember it was cold. I don't remember if it was snowing out or not. I just remember it was cold. And I just felt deeply like, man, I feel like the Lord really wants me to go to Knox Banner's grave, even though it's not like the day I'm entering or the day I'm leaving. And so I go, and I just purchased an NIV Bible, and I just kept feeling Isaiah 49:18, Isaiah 49:18. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. So I get to the grave and I pray, and 49:18, if I come over to the NIV portion, is look with your eyes and behold, all your children gather together and come to you. You shall, I'm paraphrasing this now, you shall wear them like a bride adorned for her husband. Something to that effect. And when you look at a lot of other versions, it says these instead of behold your children. So I just felt led to pray like, Lord, I know Tyler said he's not excited to have kids and wants me to pray, like, let us be excited to have kids. I pray that they would not even have the chance to be excited about that kids would suddenly happen. Once you're in the position of having kids, you don't really get a chance to be excited about it or not. You're just doing it. So I just started praying into that. I had no clue what that meant or what. I just prayed into it. In January, he gives me a call. He's like, Dewey, we just got into the foster program, and it's right now. This Saturday, we're having these kids come over out of nowhere that their parents have been declared unfit. And we have a week to decide if we're going to foster to adopt. And then he told me this week that it's all going through the courts right now. That's for sure. They're adopting these kids, and these kids will get the last name. And so literally, the suddenly kids happen. From the suffering, God can birth. And for him, he preaches at his church August 2nd, which 3 days after Knox Banner's passing, the anniversary of Knox Banner's passing. And Adam didn't know this when we gave this to Tyler, but he's preaching on their series right now is on suffering. So Tyler, on the Sunday after the anniversary of Knox Banner's passing, is to preach on suffering. It's closer to God. So hopefully that wasn't too much. I'm sorry, that was a lot. But it's a blessing to you and shows the redemptive God of Jesus.
Unless there's anything else, I just want to go back to the beginning and reiterate, Chloe, thank you for always being responsive and putting this together and widening the circle. Truly, I hope you'll be in touch, each of you. Come to Israel. Yeah, this is the beginning. Thank you for joining me tonight and giving me also a very untraditional but super meaningful way for me to begin the observance of this day. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Another question, if we would want to reach out to a Jewish friend or coworker, would it be appropriate to say meaningful?
I mean, if anyone is observing, the proper word for the day or the fast specifically is meaningful. Fast, but yeah.
You touched earlier on 7 weeks of comfort. I want to honor people's time. I don't want to take away the gravity of this because I think it's important, but can you give a little bit of an overview of the 3 weeks of the dire straits is what I heard it called, but then also leading to the 7 weeks of comfort?
Sure. I've never heard it called dire straits, but the 3 weeks, and if you'll remind me, I need to finish tightening up the teaching that I've got on my computer. But the 3 weeks begins on the 17th of the month of Tammuz, which is the day on which the Romans breached the walls of Jerusalem. I don't remember what it is that happened specifically on the first of the month of Av, 9 days ago, that elevates our mourning. So I mentioned you'll see Jewish men not shaving for the whole 3-week period. We don't do weddings during this period, although because of the war, it's been allowed a little bit because it's been harder for people to, when there's a break from the fighting, you get married when you can. Which is a really interesting and life-affirming way of even doing something during a period of time that we normally wouldn't do it. During the 9 day, so the level of mourning escalates during the 3 weeks. During the period that's called the 9 days, we don't eat meat, except on Shabbat. And then the penultimate day is, of course, today. The 7 weeks is really just typically I was so glad I wish I had the tune. I didn't particularly like the tune that's on the audio. It wasn't the best, but it was fine. it's actually beautiful and uplifting at the end of the reading of the Lamentations when everyone reiterates that kind of as a prayer, but as an affirmation and all together in unison. It's really quite nice. But the marking of the 7 weeks of consolation is typically, and I have the verses, I just can't share them at the moment, of the Haftorah portion. Every Shabbat we read in an annual cycle from the Torah, and the Haftorah is from the prophets and the writings, so that most of those books are also read during the course of the year. Not everything, is too much, but we have that other section. The seven Haftorah portions from the readings of the prophets and the writings in the next 7 weeks are those that are designed to create a mood of comfort. And I'll share those with you happily. When I was at the meeting earlier at Eagle Mountain, they're bringing a group, and they realized, well, we're going to be there for that. We should probably know what are the verses for the week we're going to be there. So that's really what we do, and then all of this leads up to the high holidays. Is that we've been in a period of mourning. Today is a day of deep introspection. We need to be better individually always, but individually and nationally about wiping out the reasons that we have for differences amongst ourselves and strengthening the unity. That's really important, especially going into an election season, which is very tense in Israel. But now we're going into at the end of the 7 weeks of comfort begins the period of repentance for the high holidays. So it's all very deliberate. It's all very seasonal, all very rabbinic, and I think I would just say that, like everything we do, whether in terms of Shabbat or anything that we do, it's meant to have meaning, not just do things that look or feel or sound good, but don't necessarily connect to anything. So all of this is kind of built into what we built one. But I'm glad to, if you'll remind me, possibly, well, probably not before I leave Texas tomorrow night, but I'll be glad to get you all of that information, and you can email me at my contact information. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Could we read that last verse? You say that you normally
Oh,
read together.
yeah, let's do it.
Read that together.
Sure, my spirit. The translation may be different from one to one, two. Restore to us yourself, Lord, that we may return to our days as the whole, lest and others be rejected us, and our with us beyond. Thank you for suggesting that.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you, John. We're so grateful.
Literally a pleasure. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that should be turned off. Thank you for joining, Livy.
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much. I've never gotten to partake in this day. And oddly enough, I felt led to read a devotional this morning that I don't often read, and it was about just how sometimes the Lord will use our senses to kind of draw us into what He's doing in the earth and in people. And if you're going to pray for healing, like sometimes you'll have a knee pain. That's the example in the devotional. But before I logged on, I was driving back from work and I just started bawling. I just all day have felt um just a sense of grief and sadness all day. I mean, I woke up with it. It's just been lingering, and I just started crying, and I was just like, God, I I kept saying, Lord, I want to go home. I want to go home. And just thinking about these, the Israel, like just thinking about these people and their heart of like them wanting to go home and not having their home anymore. The temple was such a home for them. And this feeling of not being able to return to something that was so sacred, so unifying, so safe for them. And that feeling of longing to go home, longing to have their home, feeling lost and like they don't have just a core part of who they were and what they do. And um, they didn't have it anymore. And I was just really feeling that right before getting on this call. And um so grieved, and this whole time I've had my camera up, I'm just crying because um I just really relate. I haven't read Lamentations in such a long time. I honestly I forget sometimes it's even hidden in there. Um and just getting to read it and really sensing just a grief in my own heart, and like someone was sharing, just it's good to give space to grief. Sometimes we don't want to. We want to just avoid the feelings and push past them, but um they're real, and I'm grateful that God gives us space and a day to do so. And thank you for just facilitating and sharing. And yeah, I'm grateful I got to take part.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I'm from New Jersey, so that was cool.
Where?
Um, like North Bergen area.
Oh, okay. I made Aliyah from Teaneck.
Oh my gosh. I danced in Inkwood Cliffs.
Woohoo! I'm having deli for lunch on Friday in Teaneck.
Gosh, so nice. That's my home. I miss it.
All right, Olivia, we'll be in touch and come pick olives with us in October.
Amen. It's nice
All
to
right.
meet you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
And okay, maybe. And this will be available, which I will also gladly share the link for. Did I shut it? No.